You good?
Wait.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's been a long time coming. After a long hiatus, FCTV is back. So, hello. I am your host, Snapple Grapple, and to my left is my co-host,
Loboberry Crunch. What's going on, guys?
Boom. So, for those of you who don't know, Loboberry Crunch is the newest addition to the food chain, and now he's also part of FCTV, and we have a great video for you for this segment of Otaku Lounge.
I don't think they know the subject, though.
They don't.
Do you
So
think?
what, all that? Nah. They're not gonna be able to take the hint. So I will allow Loboberry Crunch to explain to you guys exactly what we're talking about today.
So obviously we got one of the biggest franchises out there finally releasing what we have wanted for years. The Dragon Ball movie that now officially brings one of the most beloved characters ever, Broly, is officially been out. He is now canon. Shit went down.
Real quick, round of applause for finally canonizing these characters.
Yeah, really.
Amazing. Okay.
Just this guy too.
Him as well?
Oh God.
All right, so
Let's just get into it.
So, you want to go first?
We got the background of the Saiyan's end.
Boom.
Finally. Not this stuff that's been jumping around, because obviously in the show we've seen random scenes, we've seen kind of like loose trivia thrown around and stuff. No, we actually finally have a canon version of the origin of the Saiyans. We finally have Vegeta's last name. Vegeta the Fourth.
He's the fourth.
The fourth.
He is the fourth
My man is full royalty
in his
now.
lineage. That was news to me, and I'm like a huge Vegeta fan. So I was like, he's the fourth. Okay.
I'm only doing this because he's MVP, and we'll explain that later in this movie.
Absolutely.
I'll give it to you.
So before we get into the Saiyan planet and their revised origin a little bit, I do want to throw in there, I'm not the biggest fan of Frieza, but one cool aspect of this movie is that they showed you a little bit of Frieza's origin. So the movie opens up and we have the Saiyans from way back. You know, we have King Vegeta and his contingent of Saiyans. You have Paragus, Broly's father, who's going back and forth, and then you see Vegeta in his pod. You see I think you see Goku in his pod. You see all these different Saiyans in their pods and stuff. And next thing you know, the Frieza Force comes up. Actually, correction, at this point in the movie, it's called the Cold Force.
That to me was probably one of the coolest things. They actually added that, because one question everybody had was, so clearly Frieza wasn't the one that led everything first. So what happened to King Cold? And you know what it was? He retired.
He chose. So look, these guys pop up on Planet Vegeta, right? And they're just like, hey, yo, here's the deal. This is my son. The kid's like 10 years old, but you're listening to him now. It's not the Cold Force anymore. It's the Frieza Force. So we get our first glimpse of Frieza as a child. And he looks crazy. He's like this little guy, little antlers, and he's a savage.
Antlers, though.
A savage. Wow. I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay.
Racist as all.
Hello, monkeys.
Honestly.
First
of course,
greeting.
Frieza comes out doing the Frieza stuff. Monkey this, monkey that, monkey see, monkey do. And King Vegeta's like, oh, this kid is just a loudmouth, but whatever, because we serve them, we're just going to serve him too. So King Cold's like, oh yeah, and another thing, my son's going to introduce this new technology to you guys. And we get our first introduction, the canonical debut of the Scouter. So Frieza is displaying the Scouter and all its possibilities and capabilities and everything it can do. And he puts it on his head and he's like, yeah, like I can see all these snipers that you have hidden, and just starts murdering people. And everybody shook because one, this device can see everybody, like even if we're hidden. Two, this little kid just annihilated like some of the top snipers in the entire planet. So I was shook. But anyway, I had to make sure we cleared that little Frieza bit, because that was cool to me. Like, we finally got to see the dichotomy between the Frieza race. I always called them the Ice Djinns because I grew up knowing that they were called the Ice Djinns, but apparently nobody knows what their race is called, whatever. But we see the Ice Djinns not first, but interactions with the classic inhabitants of Planet Vegeta before everything hit the fan. But from there, I will let Loboberry Crunch keep explaining the origins of Planet Vegeta, because a lot of cool stuff comes out of this.
So next thing we got to see was actually how the Saiyans actually help reproduce and create these elite warriors. So they're not born just like every other person like we are. You know, we're born in hospitals and we are raised from out of the hospital and stuff. What they do is they incubate their children to a certain age and they allow their powers to continue to develop. So these chambers that they place them inside look like giant capsules, allow these children to grow. And what we get to see is we get to see that Vegeta is not only on the top, but we learned that Vegeta was the one that broke all the records for the children. He broke all the power scales for even some of the adults. So they're saying, you know, King Vegeta, you know, pride and joy. He's so proud of his son. But we also get to see something else. He still talks about how one of the biggest quotes that I like, he said, I look forward to watching you grow into a vicious king. Something that obviously a lot of people go, well, are the Saiyans evil? Are they good? Are they just in neutral? Well, unfortunately, you know, with their king, I would consider that maybe they're kind of bad, only because he literally said, I'm looking forward to watching you grow into a vicious king.
Well, if I can interject real quick, the issue with the Saiyan planet and the Saiyan race is that because they served Frieza or King Cold for the longest, their jobs were to go conquer planets for King Cold so that King Cold can sell those planets. So like a galactic black market of just planets. So I don't know if we can really say that they're evil as far as they're being used for evil purposes.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm going to interrupt you there for 1 second. So we'll get back to that in just a second because there's another scene that actually explains that. It actually talks about it before King Cold showed up.
Okay.
So after that, we get King Vegeta walking out of there, and he notices a capsule with a child in green liquid in it, and he's like, who is this child? Why is he here? And why is he in the royal chamber with my son? These are supposed to be for the elites only. Who is this kid? And it turns out also we learned that Paragus was actually a colonel in the army of the Saiyans. So to me personally, I'm kind of like, he's your colonel. He's not technically like off the street, but you know, I mean, obviously Saiyans are very prideful, so you know, the Vegeta family. But we learned that Broly not only broke a bunch of records himself, but they have a problem reading his power. And the biggest point is that they still bring this in as being canon, that they said that Broly still could be the legendary Super Saiyan. King Vegeta, feeling the way he did, immediately was like, get it out of here. So the next scene that we're introduced to is Paragus running into the hall and meeting with King Vegeta, asking him, I heard that you were about to send my son away. Why? Then King Vegeta just, oh yeah, we have a planet that we want to send him to, you know, let him go conquer it, whatever. And he's like, but it's a planet that's devoid of life. It's garbage. Yeah, well, you know, it's a, you know, here's the truth. Your son may be a freak, and what better way to prove he's good than by sending him to a planet and having him conquer on his own. Now, here's the key factor why I said that we may have a version that says the Saiyans are bad. He said even before Frieza, the Saiyans have always conquered planets and sold the planets to the highest bidders. King Cold then just came in and capitalized on it.
Gotcha.
He just basically said, oh, look, these guys are already doing it. I'm just going to make them my slaves. And that's what's going to happen.
Gotcha.
Fast forward to that, Paragus obviously jumps out, gets upset, tries to save his son, and then eventually, just to kind of get to the point of that, gets stranded on the planet. Which was terrifyingly, like, disgusting looking.
Yeah, so they get sent to this planet of, like, insects, and pretty much they're stranded now. One, they're not allowed back. The whole point was King Vegeta is jealous because everyone was talking about how Broly is breaking all the records that Vegeta broke. So it's like, all right, well, screw this kid. My son's going to be king. This guy's not going to be stronger than him. Get him out of here. So all that hits the fan. They get stranded, and now Paragus has to pretty much raise Broly on this planet if he can. Like, we don't know if they're just going to die or they're going to find their way back home, whatever the case may be, or maybe jump to another planet. Who knows?
So 5 years have passed since the events of Broly being sent away. We get Bardock. Oh boy, right here, this guy.
So Bardock's canon.
Bardock
now.
of the year.
He's canon.
Dad
officially.
of the year. Dad forever. I love this guy. So Bardock's introduced, and you can see that he's still very skeptical. Now, in the manga, there's been scenes that have shown that Bardock has always been skeptical of the Frieza family, like, ruling over them. He always believed that there was always going to be a point where they may end up not being worth anything anymore. And obviously, if we all know Frieza, when you don't need something, and that's it. So we get Bardock returning home. We get to see Goku's mother, officially now animated, Gine, and we also get to see that Goku and Bardock and and Gene actually lived as a family. So we had to see Bardock actually show emotion to his son, rather than kind of like what we got from the Bardock movie from back then, which clearly wasn't canon. We see more of a reason why he was so attached to him. He wanted to save his son. He wanted to save something rather than destroy something. So we get to see that Saiyans can evolve and like learn to nurture. And just to get to the point of it, he ends up sending his son to another planet. Also because we also got something else confirmed, that Goku had a lament power that he was afraid that they were going to find out and they would do the same thing basically. I mean, obviously it's proven that they will send away children that they believe are, in their case, not worth it. But in this case, we see that, you know, Broly was sent away by King Vegeta because he was possibly stronger than Vegeta. Goku probably would have had the same thing happen. Unfortunately, the next thing we are treated to is Frieza destroying Planet Vegeta, which kind of, you know, we still get that last scene of Bardock trying to hold it back. And I love that you brought this up when we talked about it before. We didn't just see Bardock blast and then just his blast get sucked up and then that was just the end. He fought the blast. He held it back as long as he could, to the point where as soon as it touched him, that was the end. So I love the fact we got to see Bardock in what I like to call a real last stand. Mm-hmm. And then that's what, goodbye Planet Vegeta. So now we go to, as you were saying, the future. The current timeline of Vegeta and Goku now on Earth, adults.
So once we skip to this part, I mean, we have the origin, we go over that, and it revised from the original origin of the multiple movies that we've seen about the Saiyans, whether it be the Broly movie or the Bardock movie or anything like that. And everything's revised. So we have a whole new canon to go off now, which is cool. And now we're at the point where everything's fast forward to where we are right now. This takes place directly after the Tournament of the Power ends. You have Goku and Vegeta, they're sparring. Bulma goes out of her way to mention to Whis and Beerus, that she had created this huge facility on this just deserted island so that her husband and Goku could fight to their like last breath if they chose to, and not have to like hurt anything in sight.
Too much money. There's too much money.
She's rich and she's a genius.
Too much money.
But from that point, we start getting into a conversation about the Dragon Balls and how Bulma has been trying to use the Dragon Balls, and she gets a phone call from Trunks, and Trunks is like, "Hey, look, the Dragon Balls are gone." And then she's like, "What?" So they see this whole investigation. They see that the people who took it have Saiyan armor or Frieza.
Frieza armor.
The Frieza Force armor.
Frieza Force armor, yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, that sucks." And Vegeta, the entire time, has been constantly explaining to Whis and Beerus and Goku how he wants to continue to get stronger because Frieza's back. And Goku, he literally says like Goku was an idiot and brought him back to life and stuff, which is funny to me because Vegeta just drills into Goku this whole movie. It's amazing. But because of the fact that Frieza's back, and because of the fact that Frieza just accelerated her power by so much and was able to compete with gods the last time they fought.
He calls him a she.
Yeah, she's a she. I don't care. Y'all can call him he all y'all want. She's been a she since I was 4 years old. So the fact that he has gained and acquired such power, Vegeta understands that he isn't letting up and he is still very much a threat out there. And as of right now, he is our biggest threat, because for those of you who don't know and the people who choose to ignore it, Jiren wasn't a threat to them. Jiren wasn't a villain. Their last big event was only because Goku said, "Let's have another tournament." And the childlike Zeno was like, "Okay, you know, the winner keeps his universe. Everyone else dies." So who's the real villain? Hi, Goku fans.
I mean, just to be fair, he didn't know that was going to happen. I'm not a Goku fan, but I'm just saying.
I know.
He didn't know
that. But yeah, so Vegeta is on this mindset, like, you don't seem to understand the severity. Like, you don't know the magnitude of the situation. Frieza is out there, and we don't know what he's doing, how much stronger he can get, or anything of that sort. So he tries to explain to them, like, that's why I'm trying to get stronger. I'm not worried about Jiren. He's not even worried about Goku anymore. And if you know from the past, he always says he doesn't want to fall behind Kakarot. Mm-hmm. That wasn't his excuse this time. Because for those of you who don't know, after Super, he's stronger than Kakarot now. Unless he goes Kaioken, which is whatever.
No. Royal Blue is stronger.
Is it?
It's confirmed that it's stronger. Whatever they fucking
that, Goku
whatever
fans.
they call.
I call it Royal Blue.
Super
Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Evolution or something like. No, that's stupid.
I call it Royal Blue.
That is
it looks
stupid.
Good.
It's called Royal Blue.
It's like Super Vegeta.
Beautiful.
Super Vegeta just just with the blue.
But
It's awesome.
with the blue.
But just to point to your point right there, what I love about that is the fact that they added a new goal for Vegeta. So now I felt like personally Vegeta kind of sold himself short because all he was using was, I just don't want to fall behind Goku.
It was a support excuse.
Yeah. Now it's, I want to fight Frieza, and I wanted to be able to defeat Frieza if he comes back, which more likely he will. And I like the fact that he's willing to now put aside his anger and hatred to Goku about being stronger, and now look at an actual goal. My job is to stop Frieza. That's my goal now, and I am not going to let him get stronger than I am. And I love that. We've seen a huge character development with Vegeta since then. Right. I personally feel like this gave him a not like a redemption, but like an actual reason to get stronger. And I think that we're going to cut it right there, and then we're going to go into the next segment where we're going to talk about actually the mid parts of the movie, and then we'll get into one for the end. So until then, I want you to guys come back here, join us for more Dragon Ball goodness. Vegeta. So I'm Loboberry Crunch.
And I am the Snapple Grapple. Thank you for tuning in to FCTV, and stay tuned for the next episode of Otaku Lounge.
Bye.